What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Welcome back to the channel. Subscribers, thank you for listening. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And that way you can be notified when we release more videos. And thank you to everybody that attends the live stream and donates to the channel by watching the ads in the video. I do put ads in these videos to help raise money for the cause that we support. So thank you for your patience. And also thank you to everyone who donates to the channel in Venmo and super chats during the live streams. Now, I want to make a video here about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight, and just a realization that I made as a result of commenting, going back and forth in some comments in the comment section. Now, I have a new workout regimen. I've moved to Texas, and I have this new workout regimen where I get on a bicycle and I ride a stationary bicycle at a new gym that I joined, and I ride the bike for 45 minutes, and to start off the workout. And I go through the comments in the comment section on my phone while I do it, because I like to talk to as many people as I can about boxing in the comment section as I can, even people who got negative things to say about me, when there are a good number of them. So that makes the 45 minutes fly by. So today, in the midst of doing that, somebody talked to me about how this fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury can't be the biggest fight in boxing, and Deontay Wilder won't make as much money as Anthony Joshua does fighting Povetkin. So I actually went back and I listened to something that Eddie Hearn said, and where Eddie Hearn said that he believed that there was a guarantee for Deontay Wilder at $15 million, and that Tyson Fury, he heard that Tyson Fury is supposed to be getting $10 million, right? Dollars, not pounds. Excuse me to the people who are from the UK that think in pounds. I'm from the U.S., so I'm going to talk about dollars, and the whole so all the numbers that I give are going to be dollars. So then I looked at another report that said that that was the guaranteed. The rumor is, and of course these are rumors, that Deontay Wilder would get $15 million, Tyson Fury would get $10 million, and also heard that Deontay Wilder would get $20 million and Tyson Fury would get $10 million. But the most important thing about it was that it was a 67-33 split above those numbers. So it's like there's a guaranteed purse of either 15, let's keep it conservative and say $15 million for Deontay Wilder and $10 million for Tyson Fury. But that the fight that they would get 67% for Deontay Wilder of the total purse. Now, if this is a pay-per-view fight, and I heard that this is going to be a pay-per-view fight because that's the only way that those numbers make sense, I took some conservative pay-per-view numbers and realized that Deontay Wilder might make a lot more money in this fight than Anthony Joshua has ever earned. If you do believe and take Eddie Hearn at his word about what Anthony Joshua's earned. If Anthony Joshua's getting $20 million a fight, if this pay-per-view does 500,000 pay-per-view buys in the United States at $50, that's $25 million in pay-per-view from the United States. And then you have UK pay-per-view. And I'm gonna take the price that was for David Haye versus Tony Bellew, which was $25 US for the pay-per-view. If they do 1 million pay-per-view buys in the UK for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, that's $25 million for U.S. pay-per-view, and we're doing all gross. This is all gross, not net. It's gross. And that's because when the numbers are given out for Klitschko versus Anthony Joshua and all the other fights, they're talking about the gross revenue that's pulled in. how it's divided up and how they pay their managers and pay this guy and pay that guy. All of that is after the fact, and I'm not taking that consideration because I don't take it into consideration when I say how much money Anthony Joshua's making. But if you have a $1 million pay-per-views buys at $25 a pay-per-view in the UK, that's $25 million. And if it's a Vegas fight, then you have to take into consideration the gate for the fight. Now, the fight that I thought would be similar was Bernard Hopkins versus Calzaghe, Joe Calzaghe. And the gate for the Vegas gate for Bernard Hopkins versus Joe Calzaghe was $12 million for the gate. So I just round that down to $10 million. So if you get $25 million pay-per-view in the US, which is 500,000 pay-per-view buys. I'm not saying it's going to do 1 million pay-per-view buys. We're just going to say just 500,000 pay-per-view buys. And I'm not using the price for Canelo Alvarez's ticket price, which is $69 just for regular, not even HD. I think Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin was $79 for HD, $69, so basically $70 for regular. I'm cutting that way down and saying $50 pay-per-view. And that's 25 million. So if you take the UK, and I think 1 million pay-per-view buys in the UK is reasonable because it's going to be Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. They both have a big profile in the UK, and I'm using the price for David Haye versus Tony Bellew, which I think is a similar level of fight, if not, a lower level fight. But that's the price that they use this year. So if you get $60 million total, $25 million from US pay-per-view, $25 million from the UK pay-per-view, and a $10 million gate, that gets you $60 million. And I think I think that's reasonable. I'm not saying 1 million pay-per-views from the United States, at $70 at $70. Because if I said 1 million pay-per-view at 70, that'd be $70 million. Then we would be talking about a $110 million fight where 67% of $110 million is $67 million. So I'm taking it way down just so, we think we're somewhere that can be achievable. $60 million fight. 67% of $60 million is $32 million, is $40 million. It's $42 million. It's $40 million. Roughly 70% is $40 million. That means Deontay Wilder could earn $40 million gross. Tyson Fury's team makes $20 million gross. That's a lot of money. That's $40 million. $40 million. And last I checked, if Anthony Joshua gets $20 million a fight, and Deontay Wilder can do 500,000 pay-per-view in the United States, and 1 million in Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder can get anywhere close to what Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua did on pay-per-view, not even close. It's 33% less. If it can get to 1 million pay-per-view at the price of a Dillian White at the price of a David Haye versus Tony Bellew. And they can do a lower gate, just come close to the gate that Bernard Hopkins versus Joe Calzaghe did years ago in Vegas. This could be a $60 million fight. And 67% And I'm not even saying 70-30. I'm saying 67-33 is $40 million for Deontay Wilder. And if it did $100 million, and I don't know if it's going to do 1 million pay-per-view buys. I'm not going to say it's going to do 1 million pay-per-view buys. But if it did do 1 million pay-per-view buys, you would have to slap another $25 million on top of that, of which he gets 70% of. So he could easily walk away with $50+ million, which is what he would have gotten if Anthony Joshua had decided to fight Deontay Wilder in the United States when he offered that money to him. And see, that's just the magic of, and I know people who don't pay attention to boxing and just want to think, oh, all you do is, there's no way that anybody can earn as much money as Anthony Joshua is, because where's their 80,000 seat arena? Go look at the ticket prices in Vegas for a fight versus the ticket prices in the UK. And with this particular situation, you get US pay-per-view and you get UK pay-per-view. You get it's 500,000 pay-per-view buys for Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, I think is achievable. There's a chance that it could come in lower than that. There's also just as likely a bigger likelihood that it could come up higher than that. But that's because you get the US pay-per-view and you get the increased revenue from Vegas. And it is as a result of Deontay Wilder being from the United States where the prices are higher. So, if Deontay Wilder pulls off these numbers, Deontay Wilder becomes the A side. Just so you know. If Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury do 500,000 pay-per-view buys in the United States, they get the same gate in Vegas that Joe Calzaghe versus Bernard Hopkins got, and neither one of those guys were big major stars in the United States. They're both Bernard Hopkins was well known, but he wasn't tremendously popular. If they can get that same gate, a $10 million gate in Vegas, which is, by the way, less than half of Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez's gates, he will become the A side in a negotiation with Deontay Wilder, because he would have proven that he can earn twice as much money as Anthony Joshua can earn in a fight. And that is, I've said it 100 times. That's highly possible in the United States, because Canelo Alvarez already does it. Gennady Golovkin is going to earn more than you could ever get in the UK for those fights, because the entire fight ecosystem in the UK, the most that they're going to be able to get out of a fight is $50 million for the whole fight. And I just laid out to you realistic numbers, not quite lowball numbers, but the price for the pay-per-view is affordable at 50. The 500,000 pay-per-view buys is realistic in the United States. The pay-per-view buys in the UK is realistic. The price in the UK is, for the ticket sales that I quoted, is realistic. As is the gate in the United States. That's realistic. And that's why somebody would come off of $50 million guaranteed to give to Anthony Joshua, because of these same numbers. Now, why Tyson Fury might not be as big a draw as a big of name in the UK as Anthony Joshua is, he's as well known for sure. And after all of this nonsense has gone on, Deontay Wilder's known over there. And all they need to make this math work. All they need to make this math work is 500,000 pay-per-view buys in the United States at $50. Now, if you charge $70 for the pay-per-view, then they probably only need they need less than 400,000 pay-per-view dollars to make this work. Now, these are my, eyeball numbers, but seems to me that this is the bigger, if if this is as a bigger fight as Canelo Gennady Golovkin, and it's probably not, but if it gets anywhere near as close, Deontay Wilder could walk away with $50 million off of a 67-33 split. And that's a hell of a lot more than the $7 million and $8 million that Eddie Hearn was offering him to fight Dillian White. So anyway, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.